Yeah, I'm gonna start out. And hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Matt and John Make a Podcast live stream, reacting to this week's NXT and AEW's Fight for the Fallen special. John, how you doing today?
Not too bad, man. First day back in the office this week
How'd that go?
For the first time in about 4 months. It was kind of weird. Not gonna lie. It was like really empty. There was like about 3 of us total out of like 30 people in there. So yeah, pretty weird driving through downtown Pittsburgh when it's a complete and utter ghost town.
Yes,
It's weird.
I can only imagine. So we're gonna start with NXT this week, and to be completely transparent, I only watch NXT because usually I try to watch both, or at least keep an eye on both. But today we have, if I haven't said it before, if you haven't heard me say it, I work for a high school, and there is an important meeting going on right now. It started at 7. It's still going on about going back to school and all the regulations and the plan for that. So pretty much I had listening to that and all the questions while watching NXT. So that's what I'm looking at right now is this meeting. Well, it's on mute right now. So it's kind of pointless. So right now, we didn't even get to like all the other stuff to vote on and committees and stuff. It's still return to school and parent stuff. So it's like an hour of parent questions here and public questions. So my NXT notes and thoughts may not be as up to par, if you will, with what it has been in the past, but I'm going to do my best. And same thing with my thoughts on AEW, because I've really didn't see anything in depth, just what I saw on the Twitter machine. So let's get into NXT. We start off with Keith Lee in the ring. In the promo, he comes out as the new 2 belts, the NXT champion and the North American champion. Pretty much he goes and he thanks his trainer. It's like the Academy Awards here. He thanks his trainer in the NXT universe, and he calls out Dominik Dijakovic to the ring. Pretty much says that his battles with him pretty much help him get to where he is. And he being Lee, talked with Regal for a match for both titles. And he Dominic asked name and time and place, and Lee says, well, I'm in my trunks now, in my gear now, so why not tonight? So it was made official, Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic tonight. Moving on, we had as they mentioned, grudge match with Damian Priest and Cameron Grimes. Damian Priest, I have here, came out guns a-blazing to start this match. Really got the upper hand in the beginning. Then, as we go to the first break in the commercial, Grimes gets the upper hand. I thought this, and eventually Priest comes with the comeback and hits the reckoning off the ropes. I think they had Cameron Grimes like Randy Orton does that DDT off the ropes.
Yeah.
Pretty much set up like that, and hits the reckoning for the win. I thought this was, I probably know most people are, I'm going to assume most people are not into this feud. it is your middle tier feud, but this match, at least for me, I thought was really good for these two. Um, so I enjoyed it. At the end, after Priest won, he goes into the camera and says he's very interested in seeing who wins the main event tonight. Then we get another Timothy Thatcher lesson. Talks about what he did to Oni Lorcan at Great American Bash, and he again applies a move to a poor schmuck, and they tap out immediately. And a good line that Thatcher says in this was, "A tap is educational, but making your opponent cry in pain, that's pure satisfaction."
Mm-hmm.
I retweeted that on our account from the NXT account. Then we get Shotzi Blackheart versus Indy Hartwell. We saw Indy Hartwell several, I think, weeks ago in the match. But I made the observation that I know she's young in terms of the NXT career, but I think she has I tweeted this out. She has a good look. I think there's something there.
Yeah, everyone on Twitter was like really seemed pretty excited that they seem to finally are starting to actually do something with her. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. I mean, it's already a pretty deep women's division as it is right there.
Oh, absolutely. So at the match ended, Robert Stone comes out in the walking boot, hobbling down to the ring, in an exaggerated manner, gets up on the apron, distracts the ref, which allows Aaliyah to knock Shotzi, who was on the top rope, knocked her off, and Hartwell hits a pretty much basic kick. There was nothing special. Wasn't even like one of those Young Bucks super kicks. It was kind of like a almost, this is exaggeration, like a Hogan type of, like, not a Hogan type of kick, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Hogan did a super kick.
Not a super kick, but you know how when he set up for the leg drop, he just boot.
Like a big boot then?
Big, yeah, almost like a big boot, but more forceful than a Hogan kick or boot.
Like, so like Taker then, essentially. Pretty much.
That's a better explanation. Hogan was the first one that came to mind. Because anyhow, so Indy Hartwell gets the win. There, some heel screwing around. Then we had a backstage interview with Tegan Knox, pretty much saying, sum it up, that it's her night tonight to become the new NXT Women's Champion. And then we have this vignette with Legado del Fantasma, with again Raul Mendoza, Joaquin Wilde, and Escobar. I thought this was well done. They're pretty much sitting, it looks like, in a suite of some kind, sitting in these nice chairs by a nice window, drinking some beverages. And Escobar's pretty much saying their one goal is to end. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Oh my God, help me out. He just got rehired. Holy shit. GM for 205 Live.
Yeah.
Maverick. Holy balls. I think of his name.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you're preoccupied with something else.
Oh, I'm sorry. My job and how I will.
I'm just saying. I'm just
I
saying,
do this to be fair. I do this all the time,
yeah, that is true.
and I'm preoccupied
You're
with both shows
you're pretty
because I
scatterbrained. You're pretty scatterbrained. So yeah,
no.
yes.
Sometimes no, I'm not. No, it's not scatterbrained. So sometimes I forget.
Uh,
No,
so apparently you are now 60 something years old now. Are you? Huh?
and with age comes experience and
If you say
knowledge.
so. If you say
Yes.
if
Oh
you
yeah.
say so.
You respect your elders. My brain is perfectly fine. But um
Anyways,
this
continue.
was fantastic. Escobar wants to end Drake Maverick. And the reason why he only got rehired is because he cried on YouTube. Um which
I
that's
mean, essentially,
yeah,
if we're
technically it's
being completely,
Twitter,
if
but
we're,
I think he said YouTube. Yeah.
we're close enough.
It's on whatever. And they were mad with Brazongo mocking the lucha ways, for lack of a better term,
Mhm.
coming out dressed as luchadors, and then they're going to want to build an empire. And the quote the WWE tweeted out is, "Sometimes you have to tear things down in order to build them back up." So if you want to watch a vignette, I would definitely go back and watch this. I think this is just well shot, and what they're doing with this group is fantastic. Now we get after this, we get the Keith Lee Dominic Dijakovic match. This did not close the show. It was the women's match. Like always with these two, their match is fantastic.
I was kind of surprised that they didn't advertise this, especially going up against Fight for the Fallen. You would think, hey, we're having a title match. Might want to advertise that.
I guess to go with a surprise
I guess.
factor,
I
which
guess.
I'm okay with. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, we have this coming up. Oh,
Mhm.
I want to see that.
Mhm.
So going with the can't miss aspect there. So obviously Keith Lee retains. Um, holy questions. Uh, at the end, Lee and Dominic hug and embrace, and then the lights go out, and Scarlett appears on the stage holding a bag, something in a bag, black bag. She walks down very, very slowly, methodically, gets to the ring and dumps out of the bag a broken sandglass, which I loved. And it was a broken sandglass that Lee broke during a backstage segment with Adam
And
Cole
I can
several weeks.
already tell you, man. Like, I'm not going to freaking like this as much as it's going to look amazing having Keith Lee versus versus Karrion Cross. I'm still going to stand by this. It's way too damn soon for him to be having a world title feud, especially because you're kind of booking yourself into a corner where like can't really afford to freaking lose here. But here we are. So yeah,
We'll see what they
yeah,
do.
yeah,
And a similar situation, not a similar situation, but for just say it, that I believe we saw on AEW,
yeah,
and we'll talk about how they worked
yeah.
around that.
Mhm.
Um, so I like the they brought back, it's a little thing of that broken glass.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah,
that
some
that that
storytelling there. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was fantastic. Then we got an interview. This I slightly missed the beginning of this, but I believe there was an interview with Dominic Dijakovic backstage, and then Karrion Kross comes up from behind, and they exchange some words. Which again, I was listening to the meeting, so I missed exactly what was being said. But they start brawling backstage, and at one point I go through these doors, and Karrion flips Dominic over, I guess, these guardrails that what NXT uses, separate the crowds from the ring, and lands on the cement, and pretty much I think Dominic looked like he was pretty much knocked out, and then walks off saying TikTok, and it was announced that it's Karrion Kross versus Dominic Dijakovic next week, along with Killian Dane versus Dexter Lumis. Then after that, we have a Timothy Thatcher versus Denzel Dejournette match. I guess he's obviously a rookie or somebody very young in the NXT hierarchy, and this was a relatively quick match. Denzel got some offense in. He looked like more of an amateur wrestler type with the singlet, but Timothy Thatcher ultimately gets the win with a single leg Boston Crab submission. And after the match, Thatcher continued to apply the submission, and then Orny Lorcan comes out and runs Thatcher off there. And then we have the main event, Tegan Nox versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. And by God, match of the night. These two were fantastic. If I was watching both, I probably would have my eyes set on this. Well, it's easy for me to say because I didn't watch both, but these two had a fire match. If I could take a Zoomer phrase, this was fantastic. The women, week in and week out, lately within the WWE NXT umbrella, have just been delivering match after match. The women's division is the best thing going in this company. NXT and main roster.
Main roster, I wouldn't say that, but
the women's
NXT,
division in both. No. In the main,
no.
And honestly, in the main roster, too, compared to what.
In my defense, I haven't actually been watching, so I can't really.
Yeah, no,
I can't really say
what Sasha and Bailey have come into their own as heels on the main roster and making appearances on the NXT. They're entertaining. Their segments are great.
Is Bianca and Shayna Baszler, are they still in witness protection? Still, or are they actually?
No, they're on Raw. They redebuted this past Monday.
Oh, so they finally found them from the secret society.
Shayna killed some ninjas to clear out that, and made a decent promo saying that she's tired of waiting or whatever. And then Bianca teamed up with Ruby Riott to take on the Iconics.
That seems extremely random, but hell, at least she's
and Bianca won, and Ruby was there too. But
yeah,
they're on, so they both debuted. And then minus whatever, I didn't watch it. The segment on SmackDown with the women's, something with karaoke and
Oh, I heard nothing but horrible things
I
about
guess
that.
Lacey Evans is a heel now, and she's
Well,
pissed that
apparently,
she.
uh,
I don't know.
uh,
I don't care.
apparently, it was so bad that that freaking like that freaking like Naomi had to comment on it on Twitter on the following day because the backlash was so horrible. Was like so like was so divas esque as far as like cringe and just not exactly what people wanted to actually see.
Yeah. So minus that, I mean, but overall, if you take the overall picture of
Yeah,
everything women are doing, I think they're the highlight of this company right now. And there's obviously except what the men are doing, there's some good things. I believe overall how like Drew McIntyre, how they're building him, or they have built him, I think is
they're
good.
feuding him with Dolph Ziggler.
I
Man.
said overall.
They're feuding him with Dolph Ziggler.
Overall doesn't mean point by point. Overall, I they have built him pretty decently. I mean, even though they're feuding him with Dolph Ziggler, I think what his part in the feud, I think is great. What
Yeah,
he's doing.
if
I
it,
said overall.
yeah, I think you're being way too nice about that.
No,
But
I think overall how they built Dolph Ziggler as a champion, they've built him. They're doing things better than with him than they did or are doing lately with Braun. In
we're
between the
we're setting the bar really low there, buddy.
but am I saying anything that's wrong there?
Uh, I guess if we're being extremely technical about it, but it's
Yeah.
it's like
But
oh
to be
we're like
fair, you haven't been watching.
well yes, and there is a freaking reason for that, and as we saw from this past rating, not too many people are either. So, but
But
anyways, continue with NXT before we get
but well,
yeah
I'm pretty much oh yeah, I'm not done. But
yeah.
Dolph is not Dolph. Drew is a pretty good champion there. Just want to add that. So at the end, Io Shirai wins with a moonsault. And then as she's celebrating on the stage, um, Dakota Kai attacks her from behind, and that's how we go off the air with Dakota Kai
I
standing
would
above.
I would imagine that that's probably is going to be your your takeover um women's match or or be in consideration because I believe we're
I
like what
couple weeks.
we're probably a like month away from
Yeah,
takeover now. So yeah,
that's
yeah,
probably what it's going to be because
mhm,
who else?
yeah. I mean, unless you want, because it can't be Candace since she got eliminated and done like a four-way or something a week or two ago. So I think
Well,
it's
yeah, that's
probably
for Tegan.
Dakota.
That was for this match. I mean,
Yeah,
that could be.
but
That's. I think that's down the
still,
line.
yeah, I would still probably do Dakota. But
So that's pretty much NXT.
okay, well, let's get on to Fight for the Fallen. Overall, there was some good on the show, but there was a lot of stuff that just small things that just kind of annoy me. And we'll get into some of those things. But the show kicked off for the TNT Championship between Cody versus Sonny Kiss, and I should also say as well when the show started, Tony Schiavone he wasn't on commentary because apparently with his COVID results they didn't quite come in as quickly, so they were being cautious and not putting him on the show there. So instead, for hour one, they had like Taz on commentary with Jr. and with Excalibur. So Cody versus Sonny Kiss. I mean, this was the one thing on the show that I was not looking forward to at all. For the actual match itself, it was good. The story of it actually actually made sense since basically the whole entire time Cody was just being really stupid and making just like minor and making minor mistakes where Arn was getting really pissed at him, so he was just going back and forth and showing more of an edge, and that's the thing that was pretty consistent. He's shown a lot more heel tendencies, which is something I'm definitely keeping my eye on. But obviously, Cody. He retains here. No big no big surprises. Was just to basically keep up with Cody's whole open challenge thing, and it was also announced for next week that that he will be uh, defending his title once again. And the thing that I talked or that I kind of wrote down here, looming heel turn. I mean, that's kind of has been a theme for some people, and I'll get into that shortly. Then we go with then we go to FTR versus Pentagon and Phoenix. This was by far the one thing I was really looking forward to this week. This was good. I did expect this to be a little bit better, but this was pretty good for the most part. I, I told them that Dax Harwood took a beating in this match. His whole entire chest was like carved up. He was kind of cut. He was kind of cut open a little bit here, but this match ends in a pretty unique way. Basically, FTR, they were just struggling just to get in consistent offense and just to try and get some pins. So just out of sheer desperation, Cash Wheeler takes off Phoenix's max on like a mask, and pretty much he doesn't even try kicking out. He's just covering his face, and apparently, and this was something that I didn't even know, that supposedly in AAA in like Mexico, if you forcibly take off someone's mask, that is actually a like DQ. Which, wow, I mean, which I can kind of see that just because for how important that a luchador's mask is. So, but anyways, after the match, you saw Airbnb. They were off by the crowd, by the truck that they stole, and basically with the Bucks, they came around and super kicked them, and grabbed the like truck some car keys. Eventually, Kenny and the Bucks, they go and confront FTR, and Kenny is offering peace, and hands them to a Miller Lights, and the Bucks hand them the keys there, but FTR have not quite have they have not quite have forgiven Kenny, so they dump both of those beers on his head, and they just left with their truck, which hilariously Cash had a like hard time starting up his truck there, which was pretty funny. But then we move on to a promo by Chris Jericho, which this Yeah, this I didn't really like. I'll be completely honest with you. Basically, this whole promo was Chris Jericho boasting or pretty much trolling, with the internet fans of the ratings and the 18 to like 49 demo. He's now calling himself demo god,
I
demo
thought
god.
as
Yeah,
much as I hate this whole thing, I thought that was
it was
I
hilarious, but I'm just like,
I like
really?
the
Yeah,
instead of demigod, I
demo
can
god. I was like,
I
ah.
admit that I see what you did there. I admit
Yeah.
it's it's pretty funny, but I
Which, yeah, and he keeps on, and then he brings up Orange Cassidy, him, and the inner circle. They all have like orange juice, and basically dump some like orange juice in the ring, and saying there will never be another rematch between him and OC, which there should not be. There's no reason for a freaking rematch for this. So then eventually Orange Cassidy comes out, and Chris Jericho just starts talking a lot of trash, and then Orange Cassidy goes, yeah, goes, and basically a whole bunch of freaking orange juice just falls on the inner circle, and pretty much if pretty much picture slime time, Matt. I'm not sure if you
I
ever
saw yeah
recall
I
that.
saw a video of this.
Yeah, that's kind of how I saw that as, or when like DX threw of those like PCs onto like Vince and like Shane back in '06. That was kind of what I was thinking
Just that
as well there.
it's there's corn in there
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
don't if you remember.
there's corn in there.
Oh,
um,
King, stop.
yeah, yeah. So then, so yeah, so it was even more funnier because Chris Jericho, he was going on to commentary for the second hour, so he was going on commentary completely just sticky and soaking wet, and him and Jr. are just like like just going back and forth, bouncing off each other, and Jericho was just like so pissed and everything. So that was pretty funny. But I will say though, as much as I love Orange Cassidy, we're getting to the point now as to where we're kind of overexposing him and, and making him more than what he actually needs to actually be. And I think that is getting to my concern. As much as I love the character, now we're starting to kind of overstep those bounds now, and um, AEW needs to be really careful here because you can easily make someone overstay their welcome, sort of thing, and that could go, kind of in the opposite direction of where you actually want to actually go. So yeah, those are my concerns with that. But and I can tell you, um, right now, Matt, like this segment was pretty pulverizing. Like half of the feed loved this, half of the feed hated this. So it's yeah, it was
Yep.
down, pretty down the freaking middle, to say the least. Then we have the Elite versus the Jurassic Express. I still maintain Elite's theme song sucks. I still hate it. It's corny. It's cheesy. I don't like it. But um, this was a pretty decent match. It's just the only thing. If this would be perfect, if freaking Marco Stunt wasn't involved at all. Like it's just anytime anyone sells for him, you look like an absolute freaking nerd. And when you see guys like Kenny, you know, getting Hurricane Rana or even selling even one or two punches, I'm just like,
Wait,
why is this happening?
wait. Did Marco hit a Hurricane Rana on Canny?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. It was either Kenny or one of the
See,
Bucks. It was
I never buy. This is not a Marco stunt problem. This is a wrestling problem.
Mhm.
Somebody with an extremely smaller size.
Right.
In this case, a Marco Stunt and anybody getting her Karana like that. Like, to me,
I'm not sure Ray. To me, Ray is the only one who can actually do that,
and even
it seems somewhat.
It seems possible, and
right.
like that's, and Ray, at least for me, is pushing. That's like the extreme limit.
Right.
Like
exactly.
anybody else, like if,
which is why he's gotten so over and was a giant star. But
if you did like I don't know, extreme case, a Selena Vega on any guy, the only exception, I can see
on Johnny, Johnny Gargano, like I can somewhat buy that, but if she's trying to do that to a Ciampa or a like Drew McIntyre, I'm like,
Drew definitely.
Drew, I mean, like
the only exception
like
I can see, and I know
he's like 6'5".
Yeah, the only exception for Selena, if like if the person is standing on the apron and then she jumps up. In my mind, I can maybe they lost balance and then they fall, but if they're on an even plane
it's
field, then
it's a tough sell.
That's a tough sell. I can buy. I'll buy the apron more so than if it's level ground, if you will. In my head, I don't know. Anyways, tangent.
But it was funny though. Unlike Marco, he completely missed a 450 splash, which his basically his like arms touched I think it was Kenny. I'm pretty sure that it was Kenny. Basically, he completely missed that. And then he did a Canadian destroyer on one of the Bucks from the outside of the ring into inside of the big ring.
Wait, how you do? Wait,
I'm looking from the ramp. Come if you come down, you know, like how they
level.
Like I think he jumped off of someone and someone was like on top.
Oh, so he went off into the ring and did it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like the whole move was out.
Yeah.
That's what blew my mind. Okay, never mind.
So then
what?
But eventually this before I get to the actual end here, one consistent thing about this match. So freaking Jungle Boy is still just, he looks really, really damn good. Just any sort of offense that he got in, it looks pretty good, man. He came off to me like still an up and coming guy who I think AEW needs to consistently build around, because like out of between him, I'm like a Marco and Luchasaurus. I mean, at this point, Jungle Boy is the clear star within that trio. So he looked good here. And this match ends when Kenny basically just destroys Marco with the one winged angel. Then after this thing, man, it got pretty interesting. Kenny kind of snapped and started beating up on like a Marco somewhere. So are we getting? I mean, like, I don't want to say like possibly a like heel turn, but maybe just some more character depth to where he's going to be showing a more like vicious side of him, which I think is desperately needed. I think it's time that they start to basically take off all of the like freaking handcuffs and take him off of him standby. And another thing as well, Matt. During this whole entire match, they had like cameras at some bar with Hangman, of course, and like who comes and like joins him? FTR. That's the second week now where they've kind of have been like involved. I don't know about you, but I mean, him and FTR just sounds pretty damn good together, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't
Yes.
I don't have a
Yeah.
opposition right now in my head.
Yeah. So yeah, like I'm very interested to see how this whole thing is going to happen because you gotta think that they're probably doing FTR versus Kenny and like Hangman and especially too with FTR winning over Pentagon and like Phoenix. You would think they are probably number one contenders now. Yeah, I do think that they are going to win those titles before we get to all out. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to happen because I do think that we're probably are going to be getting Hangman versus Kenny on that show. So yeah, I would imagine that we're probably going to be getting some more aggression here in the next few weeks. Then we get a promo by the AEW World Champion John Moxley. He talks about his about his like frustrations and not being able to come out and compete because of the whole COVID situation. You know, he talks about how like Taz saying about Taz saying, hey, like you aren't going to be able to like, you know, hit your finish on the cage because of the size and everything. And then and like Moxley, he brings up that with Cage, he's spent like 5 months rehabbing his torn biceps. So he's definitely planning on consistently attacking that. So yeah, just building up towards that, and then for some reason we get a pointless women's tag match that probably lasts maybe 90 seconds between Brandy Rhodes and Allie versus Kenzie Page and MJ Jenkins. I don't know why this was even on the show, and I swear if this company is even considering having women's tag titles, they are beyond stupid. We'll worry about the singles first before we even consider going there. I mean, this was NXT. Absolutely, like they have so much freaking talent in their division over there. Where like, fine, I'm perfectly fine. What the hell? I've been saying for the longest time, take those women's tag titles off of SmackDown and like Raw and put them in NXT where they would actually be, you know, actually used. So yeah.
Oh, now they're being used a lot more, but
Yeah,
being used. They're being used, but my issue with them is freshman matchups. We see
same matches,
the same combination of something, and after a while, it gets repetitive. So somehow, some way, if it can get back into NXT just for a little bit, give it maybe a month or two somehow,
and into we would actually get some actual storylines those titles because at this point they are just props there with them.
And I wouldn't
with Sasha and Bailey there.
And I wouldn't even mind you can have some of the NXT women come up briefly for Raw or SmackDown appearance and defend there. Something
it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt
because Sasha and Bailey are going to Raw, SmackDown. They win the NXT, and you can have the NXT people come up a little bit and defend against. I don't know, just throwing a team up there, Iconics, and win or whatever, what have you, and do that, show that off, and then that's a little promotion for NXT. I don't know, but anyways, that's a discussion for a different day.
Yep. So then we have revealed Nyla Rose's manager, Matt. It is indeed Vicky Guerrero is now going to be her new manager. Obviously I'm fine with this.
I like it.
I like it. I mean, like, I like how this company. I mean, that's the one consistent thing about this company. They utilize managers really well, and for past partner personalities or legendary wrestlers who fit a person's character, and to me with Nyla, she's better off. She is better off not talking, and Vicky is just a freaking magnet. So eventually, when crowds do get back, she's going to be absolutely perfect here. And so I'm fine with this, but at the same time, it's like, and it's been a problem. But supposedly we're getting some fresh blood now with the women's division because this is being booked for next week. Eve Valise, who is one of the best independent wrestlers out there, and why AEW has not signed her is beyond me. Is facing Diamante, who she was in like Impact. I think she's been in Lucha Underground. So they're finally starting to add some more women, and by God, Matt, they need some fresh feuds for Shida because she's essentially has feuded with every major person now because obviously Baker, she's on the sideline. What's her face is out with a torn ACL. Chris Statlander, she's already beaten Nyla, and she obviously beat Penelope Ford. So you need something here. So hopefully this will start to have some more women get involved because essentially now, Matt, the women's division is a completely dead and barren division without any storylines really going on. It's just a bunch of like random matches at this point. They really need to have the ball rolling here, so to say, So then we get to the main event, which is for the AEW Championship between Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage. So going into this whole thing, my expectations weren't exactly very high. Mainly because especially with Jon Moxley, you just don't know what you're going to get. You will get some matches that are incredible, like if we talk about his feud with Brody Lee. I hated the whole entire build for that, but they put on a freaking killer match, and it was really good. And then you go on the opposite end of the spectrum. He had a great build with Hager, and the match was completely terrible. So you really just didn't know what to expect here. And here, this was okay. And to me, they protected Cage way better than what they did with Cody, with Archer. Whereas Taz threw in the freaking towel, and Cage, he never got pinned. He never tapped or quit or anything, and he still looks like a freaking monster. So they did that good. I still say that this was way too soon. It didn't need to happen, but for everything considered, they did good here. And then after the match, Darby Allin, he comes down, and he attacks Cage. So it looks like we're going to be going now into Cage versus Darby, which I'm perfectly fine with. They need to build up Cage a little bit more, I did really like the Matt that 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 with Taz, he was protecting his asset, so to say, and protecting Cage from himself, because at some point he's going to be getting another title match. It's going to happen, but this, I think, was a good way to protect him and not having him eat the pin, while at the same time him looking really strong here, and obviously in Moxley, he retains. Now the question is, where do you go with him? To me, the only obvious person would be MJF. Because if you just look up and down the card there's really no other heels to really feud with Moxie right now, because he's essentially beaten everyone else, and what other heels that they do have really aren't there to be actual challengers. To me, this is all set up for MJF to win the AEW championship at All Out, and that's exactly what should happen. I do think that if they prolong this title reign any further for him, then we're going to get into a problem of who's he going to feud against? So I think it's very important that MJF is absolutely new world champion by the time that All Out happens. So now, was this better than Firefest Night 2? I'm going to say no. It was still a decent show, but there were still a lot of things that this company really still needs to get ironed out. They don't need to be having these guys who are just coming into the company, and they're just throwing the right into main events where you're kind of booking yourself into a corner. So say now they were fine here, but we saw with the Archer situation, we can't have things like that. Just hopefully these things hopefully that they learn from those, but we shall see how things go. Now, as for next week, we already did have some other matches announced. Like I said, they are doing. I'm trying to pull up. Oh yeah, so supposedly Hangman is facing a jobber from the Dark Order. Who cares about that? I'm trying to find if there's anything else here. But as I talked about before, they're going to be doing Felice versus Diamante, and there's like two other matches that were pretty high key matches. So very interested to see how this goes. And I think we're about, I want to say, like 6 weeks out from All Out. So like we're getting pretty close to that date there. So yeah, Matt, that was fight for the fallen. There and yeah. Anything else to add before we close out this show here, Matt?
No. As not really. I mean, as always, it's going to be interesting. I don't know how. I don't know why, but how the ratings pan out this week.
I think probably both shows are going to be hurt with UFC showing or being on tonight. And if we just go on like history, I believe with the last one, it really hurt both NXT and also Dynamite. So I'm expecting viewership to be pretty low, but I'm also expecting if AEW loses this week, then we have a problem because there is no reason why they should have lost this week.
I would expect viewership to be down. I don't know, 10% maybe on average. And
people will lose their freaking
relatively close. I would say AEW squeaks out a win and wins the demo like always, and we get more Twitter fights tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be annoying, but yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in. As always, we will be live on Saturday, or our podcast will be dropping on Saturday. We'll be talking. We will be talking UFC. Some obviously other sports are going live soon. We're going to be talking
Star Wars news I could bring up.
Oh, okay. We got some Star Wars news, so that's good. And we'll find some other things to talk about as well. But as always, follow our Twitter page at and comment, subscribe, like all of that, and we shall see you on Saturday. So for Matt and for John, we will see you then.